Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to Executive Insights by Mediacorp, Unlock Campaign Performance with AI. I'm Tim. I lead the AI Products and Solutions team at Mediacorp, and I'm your host today. So we have brought together an outstanding panel of industrial leaders who sits at the intersection of the marketing, media, and technology. So we have Lynn. She's the head of commercial growth at Kantar Consulting. Good morning, Lynn. And we have Carey. He is the client president at WPP Media Singapore. Hi, Carey. And last but not least, we have Justin, and he is the director of channel partnership, APAC, at Mastercard. So each of them brings a unique perspective on how AI is reshaping the campaign strategy and execution, not just to improve efficiency, but to truly elevate the performances. So get ready for an insightful and forward-looking conversation. But before we dive deeper, let's zoom out a moment to look at the broader trajectory of AI. So I often tell my friend that we are living through one of the most transformative moments in the history of AI. Think about this. So what begins as the rule-based logical system in the early days has evolved into neural networks, then deep learning breakthroughs, and today we have the era of the generative AI and large language model. And we have seen that AI has surpassed the human performances in many technical tasks today. So what makes this shift so critical? It's not just the technology itself, it's how we are using it. We move beyond just automating the isolated task. Today, AI is starting to orchestrate the entire workflow, from research and creative to the media planning, execution, and of course, the measurement. So what really that means for us in the media industry? So it means that now we can create faster, decide smarter, and ultimately deliver the bigger impact. So at Mediacorp, that's exactly what we are focusing on, driving the meaningful AI adoption across the whole value chain. And in today's session, you will hear from our panelists about how their organizations are approaching it. But before we learn their journey, so let's first hear from you. So we have two polls. I think there will be a pop-up screen so you can participate in the polls so that for us to understand where's your journey. The first one, I think pops out already. Please do participate in that so that we can understand you better. So where is your organization in the AI marketing journey? Let's just wait for a few seconds, then we're probably going to see the results soon. All right, a few more seconds. I think it's interesting. I think we have seen there was quite a few, quite a number of you that already started the AI journey. I think there's a big portion also that you are piloting a few tools, right? That's great. That's great to hear. And we're probably going to hear more and learn more from our panelists. And hopefully that can also help you to accelerate your AI journey. So let's look at the next poll. So in terms of marketing, so which areas are you most interested in optimizing with AI? We should have the poll. Okay, it's up. Please do participate so that we can understand you better. Just to give it a few seconds. All right, let's see. Do we have the result already? All right. Okay, we have the result. Okay, that's really very interesting. I think thanks for your response. I think, in fact, we've done some early studies at Mediacorp, and I think the findings are quite aligned with what we see from the audiences. We've seen a strong demand across the board, but particularly around measurement, personalization, and predictive forecasting. I think the marketeers today aren't just looking at optimize the performance. They really want the real-time insight and the future visibility, right? So now to explore this further, so I'm delighted to pass it over to our first speaker, Lynn, who will share how Kantar are thinking about growth in the evolving AI landscape. Lynn, over to you.
Thank you, Tim, and thank you so much to Mediacorp for having me. Good morning, everyone. My name's Lynn, and I represent Kantar, a firm that you may or may not have heard before. Well, if you've seen some of the biggest brands out there like Apple, Coca-Cola, and you've ever wondered how did they get to where they are, please know that they got to where they are because they actually use some of the data and brand insights and marketing analytics that was supplied to them from Kantar. Kantar is one of the world's leading brand and marketing data insights and consulting companies. We partner with more than 96 out of top 100 biggest advertisers around the world, and we have presence across 90 markets and a global team of around 20,000 people. We help organizations understand how people think, feel, and act both globally as well as locally here in Singapore. So thank you for having us again today. And I'm here to talk about how AI infuses the brand market and marketing data and analytics that Kantar provides for our clients. And I hope that you'll take something useful for your organizations today. Next slide, please. So let's start off with what the state of the situation is. I saw from the earlier poll that almost 80% of us have already started our journeys or are implementing some kind of AI into the organizations. And I wonder how much of that is actually driven by the individuals on this call. Kudos to all of you for showing up bright and early on a Thursday morning and to listen to this AI presentation, because I think you are the future of your company's AI. And when we ran a study as Kantar with global marketers around the world, what we found is that marketing is one of the most optimistic functions within a company when it comes to their embracing of Gen AI. On the left-hand side, the results of optimism scores from marketers is almost 9, which far surpasses any other functions within a business. And what most marketers are telling us is marketing will be transformed by Gen AI in the form of boosting human skills, making processes smoother, and therefore it is critical for us as marketers to be early adopters of Gen AI. But make no haste in this. There's still a lot much work that we need to do to unlock true value. When we flip the page over to the right-hand side, we can see that when it comes to how marketers are feeling the current impact of Gen AI is on marketing within their organizations, it really still is early stage. A score of about 5.3 was given by marketers on how they feel about the potential of Gen AI within marketing, but companies still limiting the existing usage. And when it comes to internal readiness, this is where it gets even more bleak. A rating of 4.9, and what marketers are reflecting is there's a lack of training, a lack of tools that are really being given for them to deploy, and therefore it is imperative that we actually invest much more in education and investment. So take this slide and show it back to your management on how the state of marketers and our optimism is really embracing our adoption of technology, but the limitations are really in the rest of the business. But have no fear, because that's what we're really here to address today. Now, from Kantar's point of view, on the next slide, what we're seeing is really the limiting factor now for Gen AI and AI in general in marketing is a lot of the times the use cases have been focused so far on replacing tasks, right? How do I get a meeting summarized more quickly? How do I actually write a copy much more faster? But the real opportunity we believe with AI is in embedding it in a way that transforms your end-to-end processes. Now, what do we mean by processes? Every single day, we as marketers go through different kinds of processes to get to an end outcome, which could be a campaign or an entire year marketing strategy. The three main processes are respectively planning and strategy, which is really around how you're taking market data, consumer data, and translating that into insights to go into your overall planning and strategy. The middle part is integrated marketing communications. And that's what has happened when you take AI to create your end-to-end communications approach and going really from the early big idea to the creative and all the way through to how it gets deployed in market via media and being measured. And finally, on the right-hand side, the last process is on innovation, which is a core role that marketing contributes to as well. How do you actually innovate and develop new products off the back of the marketing consumer insights and data that are being generated today? So over the next 3 slides, we will deep dive a little bit into this, and I'll bring some real examples to bring this to life. Now let's talk about planning and strategy and what AI opportunities there are for us to improve the way that we plan and strategize today. In the middle part of this slide, we see the breakdown step-by-step processes that go into planning and strategy. There's starting off with your landscape assessment, which is really understanding what the macro market and customer landscape looks like, all the way through to pinpointing the issues and opportunities, setting your objectives, translating that into marketing jobs to be done, then planning your activities, and then going to measuring it. We think that there's several standout opportunities over here for marketers to embed AI even more. And one of the key areas is in issues and opportunities, for example. Gen AI can help you easily identify gaps by detecting patterns in customer needs and competitive weaknesses. And a good example of a company that has brought this to life is L'Oreal. They actually had a partnership with NVIDIA to actually develop a Gen AI to augment their employees' ability to spot growth opportunities, really forming a good partnership between some of their internal employees, human understanding of the customers, with some of the AI synthesized landscape assessment and issues and opportunities that acts as a sparring partner to them. Under objective setting, for example, you can use Gen AI to use and connect historical data and predictive analytics, set realistic data-backed objectives. And a good example of how BBVA has done this is they really use Gen AI as a sparring partner for them to create and refine some of their strategies going into their markets as well. And finally, on activity planning, this is one of the process steps where the use of AI will be a quick win because it can help map out activity plans from how you select your channels today to your messaging strategies to predict the optimal combinations for different kinds of segments. And what Heineken has done here is truly astounding. They've used Gen AI to enhance their customer segmentation, which has led to more targeted marketing and significant marketing media savings in order to drive real commercial effectiveness. So that's planning and strategy. Let's turn the page over to the next process, which is really in the space of integrated marketing communication. I know many of us in the room today are actually responsible for the day-to-day execution of marketing, so this should be particularly interesting for you. Again, in the middle part, we see the end-to-end process from how you develop the brief to the creative and testing it, creating the actual production of the creative itself through to media planning and measurement and optimization. And similarly, we see multiple spaces where actually Gen AI can be deployed to actually make things more effective. Under creative testing, for example, Unilever has embraced digital twin technology to create multiple copies of their creative assets and then implemented that AI to speed up and scale their creative evaluation. So they have actually tested 3 times more digital assets and 15% more TV assets as a result of their embracing of these technologies. And for media planning and campaign activation, a really nice example, my personal favorite, is from Cadbury India. They use Gen AI to create hyperlocal personalized ads featuring a very famous Bollywood actor, Shah Rukh Khan. And by analyzing the small business data, they actually use customized ads to promote local stores with Shah Rukh Khan by name, helping them to gain their visibility and recognition and connect with customers during the festive season. Finally, in measurement and optimization, TSB used AI to allow the ingestion of hyper-granular daily data across both the digital and offline channels at speed. They refreshed their MMM model, and we'll talk a little bit about what an MMM is later on. But they refreshed this on a daily basis to enable real-time decision making. And I want you to pay particular attention to the last line over there. I know it's a little bit small, but it's in the TSB box. They actually managed to increase their sales by 42% and reduce their media spend by 70%. Now, I think this is for most marketers in the room, and I used to be on the marketing side myself, something so powerful that you can say to your end stakeholders, whether that's your executive or whether that is your stakeholders internally, to be able to drive real commercial impact by improving marketing is something that is just becoming more and more essential in today's businesses. And Gen AI, especially in the topic of measurement, is one of those things that can make a real differentiator in the way marketing shows up in organizations. Now, finally, on the last one, which is around innovation, we see again a few opportunities over here. I'll just spotlight one in the interest of time. I'll spotlight opportunity identification, which is really where marketing shines because of our closeness to the consumer. Under opportunity identification, a case study from Helion was how they developed their Gen AI tool called Ask Helion, which is used as, again, a sparring partner for innovation through the stages of articulating consumer insights through the way to interrogating the science inside products as a consumer health firm. And this really helps them come up with superior concepts that they can activate and test with consumers. So those were the top 3 processes that we went through. Now let's turn the page over to understanding a little bit more about how AI can be really deployed in actual solutions itself. First thing I'll say is this is not new to us at Kantar. We've been around for a long time and we've been building expertise in AI for a similarly long time. Now, what many of you might share in our journey is we've gone from in the early 1980s from machine learning, which is really around how do you do things in a much faster way, to all the way in the middle of the part of the screen, deep learning, which is embedding AI to really help us understand and harness the data even better, to where we are now in generative AI, which is helping clients to take all of the legacy data that they have with us in order for them to understand the use cases and applications to improve into the future as well. And that's what we're really excited for. So on the next page, you'll see that the transformation journey that Kantar has been on is that we've then started to infuse AI into every single solution that we have. Next page, please. Whether that is AI for innovation, as you heard me talk about earlier, to make concept evaluation much more faster and much more effective, through to AI for creative and being able to test at a lot higher scale, as well as use predictive analytics to try to understand how creatives would perform even before they hit the markets, as well as AI for media, which is optimizing your media allocation, and finally for brand as well on the right hand side, in order to predict your brand KPIs, whether that's top of mind awareness all the way through to consideration and purchase intent. This is so powerful because all of our data and all of our AI is running off the back of a model that has a massive database over here. We use a model that's powered by something called Link, which is the world's largest normative advertising database. It consists of 250,000 plus tests, 307 million human interactions that have been recorded in our particular database, and therefore we're able to predict how real human behavior will change as a result of seeing ads. The last stat I'll leave you with is our clients typically see a 30% increase in ROI when they improve an ad's creative quality off the back of these insights from average to best. 30%. That's phenomenal. So I'm turning to the last pages in my presentation. I just wanted to spend a bit of time just bringing to life 3 core solutions that might be relevant and interesting for folks on this call. The first is what we call Lift ROI, which is essentially marketing mix modeling. It helps you understand of all of the media spend or all of the marketing spend that you're putting into the market, how much of it is actually generating true business results, i.e. sales, or if you're financial services, assets under management, or any business metric that really resonates with you. Not only that, it can also be linked to brand equity metrics and be able to predict what is the lift in awareness, consideration, and purchase intent when you tweak your marketing mix or increase your marketing spend. In the middle, Link AI is our solution for really understanding how creatives would be performing in market and be able to predict how people would be responding to ads. And on the right-hand side, evaluating concepts for innovation will require something that's called concept evaluate as well. So very quickly on the next slide, here's how it really works simply. You ingest some marketing data and non-marketing data like your macro factors into a model. Through the ingesting of this particular data, it can actually simulate what the short-term sales and brand equity would look like in order for you to understand what is the exact tweaks that you should be making in general. And if you're not using MMM in your organizations today, you should be really thinking about how you can actually deploy something like that in order to make your marketing much more measurable. On the next page, I spoke a little bit about how marketing comms can be improved. Here's a list of some of the metrics that can be actually optimized off the back of this. What's important to note is it's not just on the left-hand side, the brand and creative metrics, but you can also optimize your behavioral metrics off the back of this. Now, finally, on the last 2 slides, I'd like to just show you a prediction of where Kantar is going with the AI future. We believe that today, whilst the majority of use cases is in the effectiveness area, which is really just summarization, automated reporting, in the future, under the tomorrow bar chart, it will actually change to become a lot more pivoted towards edge cases of AI. And what we mean by edge cases are things like contextual prediction to forecast not just the effectiveness of advertising based on images or music, but also things like the characters, dialogue, and contextual factors as well. So these are applications that are not common today, and we expect AI to be able to accelerate this into the future as well. So with that, I've come to the end of my particular segment. I know I kind of breezed through it. Please feel free to use the chat to ask me any questions, as I see some of you have already done. I'm going to hand the time back to Tim. I'm also contactable via my email that you see on screen right now. Thanks, Tim.
All right, thank you, Lynn. I think that's really resonate. I think why you brought up a very critical point, right? AI isn't just about technology, but it's about embedding intelligence into the entire marketing lifecycle. And I think that's something that we are very aligned with that at Mediacorp. And of course, and transformation at scale also need like deeper integration. I think that probably will bring us to the next speaker. So let's hear from Carey, who will share how WPP is leveraging its intelligent marketing operating system, WPP Open, to drive the performance, automate workflows, and reimagine how media get planned and activated. And over to you, Carey.
Yeah, thank you, Tim. And so good morning, everyone. Honored to be here. I'm Carey, and I'm the client president for WPP Media Singapore. We are the media arm of the communications group, WPP. As the speakers, as Lynn mentioned earlier, AI is evolving. It is also evolving very fast, very quickly, literally changes almost every day. I think one important point Lynn touched on as she gave the lay of the land is that more work needs to be done. There's a lot more value to be unlocked with the value, with the potential of AI. I will speak from the angle of a user or of an organization using AI and weaving AI into our processes as we deliver for our clients. So I'll share how we have geared up and how AI is starting to play a big part for our organization and how we work with clients. Just a bit about WPP Media. We are a media agency, as I said, and we manage over 50 billion media budgets for our clients. And our clients, some of the logos I've listed below, it spans global clients, local clients, both public, private sector. If we move on to the next slide. And this is, as a company, this is how we see, we see three broad trends. The first one is that media is everywhere. And what this means is that there will be more opportunities for advertisers to reach consumers. And this could be anywhere. It could be smart glasses, to your EVs, to your washing machine, to your refrigerators. All these are touch points that we will be able to reach consumers. And when we reach consumers, these platforms are also, these devices are also commerce enabled. So we feel that in the next 5 years, this will be a big area of opportunities. The second area is that all transactions will become more seamless and powered by AI. This will change how media agencies will plan, activate campaigns. The third one, I think, is a no-brainer. We see exponential increases in AI. Everyone knows that. And for us as a company, we see AI as a force multiplier. It's a means to an end, not an end in itself. So the aim is for us as an agency, as a business, is continue to be a trusted advisor to our clients. As an organization, just like yourselves, we are upskilling our entire workforce. AI is, as I said, is evolving on a daily basis. So there's a lot of work to be done here. Our advice to all companies and all the listeners out here is that we have to stay nimble and agile in order to thrive in this dynamic environment. If we go on to the next slide, I will touch a bit about how AI is being used today in our organization. The first one is a personal productivity tool. And I'm sure many of you have many examples of how you are using AI today from a personal level. I mean, you're doing searches apart from your Google search and your Bing search, you're using LLM search and so on. You're using this to summarize documents, to generate ideas and so on. So the productivity tool angle, I think it's easy to visualize. As a media planning agency, in the context of media planning and activation and measurement, we have leaned into AI in a couple of ways to discover new audiences. What this means is looking for new sources of growth for client growth, for clients' businesses, planning media campaigns that are turbocharged in terms of getting outputs quicker, so we become more efficient and easily work can be done in 2 days when it used to be 2 weeks. This doesn't mean that planners become redundant, but AI has allowed us to have richer conversations, more conversations and discussions with clients throughout the process. So yes, there's efficiency, but I think the important and salient point here is that we get to better outputs as well. From a media reporting standpoint, it's also improving by leaps and bounds. We don't spend a lot of time now just providing observations. It's not just about compiling data, it's a lot more time spent on understanding the insights, and I think importantly, what are the actions that will come out of all these insights, right? So how do we optimize the campaigns and so on? In the next slide, what are some of our clients telling us? So as a media agency, our clients are equally curious. They are consumers themselves. They're asking questions as basic as, what is the AI landscape about? They're asking about what the AI capabilities are for their agency, meaning us, right? So as a media agency providing our media investment services to clients, what is it? How are we using AI and how are we staying relevant for their business? So we're being asked these questions quite a lot. Some clients are asking us to connect how we use AI to how they're getting tangible business outcomes, especially for clients that do a lot of business on .com. So those are very common questions, and we continue to get these questions on a very regular basis. In the next slide, so it is definitely time for new approaches, and this applies universally for us as WPP, but whether you're a bank today, you're a government institution, you're a learning institution, it applies for everyone. It is time to start thinking about how to unlock the potential of AI, as Lynn mentioned earlier. For WPP, in the next slide, we have we're turbocharging ourselves through this. We call it an operating system, and this operating system we have named WPP Open. We have committed to investing over 300 million to building cutting-edge capabilities within this OS. It combines some of this development, our own development, but it also combines this with the AI capabilities of our key partners, including Google, Amazon, Microsoft, Meta, and even TikTok. I'll share some of this in the coming slides. Unfortunately, I'm not cleared to demo this in a public setting, so I'll try to give you a gist through some videos that I've put in the slides, as well as some use cases. Let's play the video.
All right, the goal's clear. Boost brand awareness and drive sales for launch. Okay, Open. Let's use strategic insights to start narrowing things down a bit. I want to get a pulse on the world of organic beauty and personal care products. Looks like the category's growing. More health-conscious consumers. Big push for sustainable brands. Love that I can see the reference docs that powered this. I'll add those so the client can review the details. Now let's dig deeper. So price is a sticking point. Definitely something to keep in mind for messaging and retail. Now let's see how customers are actually shopping. What drives their choices? Let's dive into the customer journey. BAV data is on point. Looks like loyalty is a bit shaky though for regular buyers. Perfect. All these insights are a great start. Let's take a look at last month's industry report to make sure we're covering all our bases. Need a quick summary, please? Oh, brilliant. So it's all about sustainability, transparency, and personalization with AI. That's what today's shoppers care about. The client's traveling today. They won't be flipping through a 50-page deck. Let's turn this content into a podcast so they can listen on the go. Voila! Everything I need right here. Smart insights, perfectly tailored for the client. Media assistant, you are beautiful. I think our launch just got a glow up.
Okay, I hope you enjoyed that and you got a gist of what WPP Open is allowing our teams to do across WPP and WPP Media. The what is really some of the platforms, some of the interfaces that you see in the video. It's a unifying area where we start doing our work from. It's the first thing that we open when we get to work instead of emails or apart from emails. The how is the nuts and bolts of it, but I think the how is also how the organization is bringing along all the employees and the workforce and how we are enabling them to do the work. So an important factor to consider here is that change management, right? So AI is not going to be a silver bullet for your business just because you implement something. You have to think of some of the processes. I think Lynn mentioned that a lot of it is not just about productivity and automating some repetitive tasks. A lot of thinking needs to go into how to bring everyone along this journey. And this is especially tough because it is evolving so fast. The why, I don't think I need to kind of labor the point. It is a necessity. Like it is going to be the differentiator, if not the silver bullet for many organizations. So for WPP Open, on the next slide, I'm not going to labor the point here again. There are different what we call command center. This is the command center of marketing operations that we call it studios, and different parts of our business use the different studios in different combinations. In the next slide, you will see how WPB Media, as the media agency, the studio that we use the most often is Open Media Studio. You can move on to the next slide. Yeah. So this is the studio that we use most often alongside the creative studio. And we approach, as the media arm of WPP, we approach media brief clients' media problems through a process called DPAM. And in each of the phases of discover, plan, activate, and measure, we have different tools that sit under these processes. Let's look at some of the examples. Again, I can't do a demo, so I'll try to voice over to let you visualize what I'm talking about. So the first one, I won't go too deep inside. I think many of you are using AI in a personal productivity capacity for discovery and so on. One of my favorite use cases, so I thought I want to share this, is the ability to turn long PDF documents into podcasts that you can then consume as you're on the go when you're commuting. I think this is a really good personal productivity tool, and we have this weaved into WPP Open. So it's something that a lot of colleagues use at a personal level. In the next example, this sits in the planning phase within DPAM, and this what took us a week to do can be achieved in a matter of hours, but let's call it a day, because I don't want to give the impression that the AI spits out work and then this is what we pass on to the clients, right? At the bottom left of that illustration, what happens here is this is an example of a school, an education center giving us a brief on driving awareness for new postgraduate courses in the next school year. So in the past, this would have taken quite a while to compile across different data sets, different research tools that we subscribe to. Right now, WPP Open and AI allows us to spit this out in literally minutes. The outputs would be a draft of the touch points for this particular prompt, right? The prompt is how do we what are the consumer touch points that we should consider as we roll out and drive awareness for this course, right? So the draft is given to us in terms of what are the digital channels you can possibly use, what are the physical channels you can use. It even breaks it out into different stages from a teaser phase or awareness phase to consideration and then to a sign up phase. This is not taking from open internet. We are pulling from syndicated third-party data. The next speaker, Justin, will speak about this a bit. But it is also pulling from proprietary data from WPP itself. So it's important to note again that this doesn't mean that we just throw this across the fence to the clients. What we are achieving here is spending more time validating, checking. More importantly, we are ideating how to bring to life the campaign. We're working with creative agencies and clients in terms of messaging, better messaging, more accurate, more personalized messaging, better formats, formats that will achieve better results and eventually better business. So net, we are getting to better outputs faster, right? The use case that you have here as well is the part of planning as well, and it's part of it's where we go deeper now to consider channel efficiencies, different types of buying mechanisms to achieve the best outputs possible. So we are doing all this and getting campaign benchmarks from the category, from specific campaign data a lot easier. So I mean, what is the big deal in all of this? I guess if you think about it, what in the past, what we have, I mean, in fact, some of you are probably still doing this, opening up different folders in your computer, finding different Excel, different pivot tables, putting it onto a big screen, and then kind of combining and getting the correlation. So I'm sure a lot of us are still doing this today. From the point of view of a media planner, what we are doing now with AI is simplifying and solving for time, right? It is quite a big deal. The analogy I'll give to you is that instead of using a mobile phone, try put a coin into a pay phone and make phone calls. Like, you will never go back to those days, right? Your mobile phone is with you all the time. So this is the reality today. In the next couple of years, new media planners joining the industry will not know that this wasn't a norm before. And the last use case I'll share is this one called agents. Lynn touched on generative AI. There's another branch of AI called agentic AI, you might have heard before. This is used quite a lot within WPP Open, where we are creating agents. And agents are like the approximate of a real person. So we use this to create potential audience, with target audience, potential experts who can weigh in on, say, your creatives or being part of a focus group. In this case, we have created the approximate of an intern, right? So we call this the intern agent, and we have built many interns for different clients. In this particular use case, this agent or this intern, we have fed it a lot of the campaign data of a specific client. So all the campaign reports and all that, we have trained this agent up such that we can ask this agent a number of questions. So in the past, we would have to kind of, again, look into different folders for data and all that. Right now, it's just a prompt, like, send me all the post-campaign data from this period, and the agent will respond, actually, this data, it doesn't sit within this period. Would you like to look at it from another period? So it becomes a very natural way of finding data. And I did not share the full screenshot because of client confidentiality. But what this conversation continued to was bringing up different data and then different prompts to bring us closer to what exactly clients are looking for. So this is an example of agentic AI, and it's getting a lot more sophisticated. There are a lot more interesting use cases. In the interest of time, I shall not go into detail. The next video, and I'll end on the next video, which is from WPP, not just WPP Media. If you can share the next video.
Where AI innovation meets the art of storytelling, creating a new way to tell stories through our nation's languages.
When we first embarked on the project, we wanted to really find an opportunity to explore the possibilities of AI, because art, music, storytelling is such a big part of our culture.
First, we went through a lot of folktales To finally settle on one that was kids appropriate, kids friendly, and which also we settled on the story of Pulau Ubin.
We invited eager parents and grandparents to try out our tech, while assuring them that the data would be stored and handled securely.
Making sure that they feel comfortable with using our AI tools was a big success to me, that they actually trust us in handling their data.
With their full consent, they were ready to experience narrative. Over 40 AI tools were experimented with before we shortlisted 6 for our AI experience. We captured facial
All right. Thank you, Carey. I think that was really a powerful look into like what's possible when AI isn't just a tool, but it actually becomes the operating system. And I think AI may be, the engine, but we still definitely need the fuel, right? In this case, I think data will be the fuel. So that's, let's welcome our next speaker, Justin, who will share how Mastercard is using their data and AI to unlock a deeper audience insight, enabling personalized, the scale, and power more intelligent marketing outcomes. Justin, over to you.
Thanks, Tim, and good morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me clearly. I'm just dialing in from Melbourne today, and very happy to be here. Just a quick introduction about myself. I lead channel partnerships and alliances for Mastercard in the APAC region, and we work very closely with our ecosystem partners like WPP Media as well as Mediacorp. And just prior to Mastercard, I spent close to 14 years across the different big tech platforms, from Google to Meta to TikTok. So really have had the opportunity to have a front row seat on the development of AI over the last decade and a half. So we have heard a lot about the exciting possibilities of AI from Carey and Lynn. One thing is certain, in the age of AI, data is more important than ever, right? As I think one of the panelists answered this, which is one of the challenges today is access to data, but more importantly, access to high quality data. And as they always say, garbage in, garbage out. So hopefully today we can share a little bit more about what Mastercard is doing in this space to unlock value with our transaction insights and how we play a role in supporting media campaigns and delivering value across the customer journey. Next slide, please. So I'm sure all of us, or most of us in this room, you have heard of Mastercard. You know Mastercard as a payments and credit card company, but not many of us might know that over the last 50 years, we have evolved to become a data and technology leader globally. As you can see on this slide, our superpower lies in the depth and the breadth of data that we see across the Mastercard payment network. And on an annual basis, we see more than 200 billion purchase transaction points, sourced from more than 3 billion cards in circulation today, across more than 150 million merchants, but importantly, across a few hundred industry categories. So again, just to emphasize the depth and the breadth of the data that we have. And we leverage all of this aggregated and anonymized transaction insights and expertise to serve more than 4,000 customers across 120 countries today. So very big numbers that I'm throwing out there, but I think as you can imagine, this really speaks to the trust and the quality of the data that Mastercard is holding today. Now, if we move to the next slide. So let's talk a little bit more about the foundation of everything that we've discussed so far, which is data. And at Mastercard, data is not just an asset, it is the core of our network. Every transaction, every interaction, every insight is powered by the data flowing through our systems. And as I mentioned earlier on, in the age of AI, quality of data is most important. And AI can process information at unprecedented scale and speed, but it's only as good as the data that it is fed. So if your data is flawed, if your data is incomplete, or if your data is biased, then your AI outputs will be also. So as I mentioned, garbage in, garbage out. And that's why Mastercard has invested so heavily in building this trusted, anonymized, and high quality data ecosystem that spans 200 billion purchase transactions. This is because the depth and the breadth of data allows us to drive innovation at scale, helping our partners, advertisers, and brands like you unlock performance across marketing, payments, as well as customer engagement. So whether it's powering hyper-personalized campaigns or enabling real-time decisioning, as what Carey had mentioned across the life cycle of media, our AI capabilities are built on a foundation of clean, structured, and actionable data. So as you think about your own AI journey, just remember that data integrity isn't just a technical concern, It is a strategic imperative. And let's move on to the next slide. So now let's explore a little bit more on how this plays out in the context of media and advertising. In today's fragmented media landscape, one fun fact I learned today is, on average, all of us are exposed to more than 20 plus different media channels. So that's a lot of media channels that we're all being exposed to. So marketers face a very growing challenge as to how do you reach the right audience with the right message at the right time, and also prove that it worked in driving business outcomes. And this is where transaction data becomes a game changer, because unlike previously proxy signals like clicks or views or interest behavior, transaction data reflects real-world consumer behavior. Because if you are a top spender in men's apparel, you're likely going to be in the market to buy men's apparel. So what people actually buy, when, where, and how, these are where transaction insights really come in. So by leveraging into anonymized and aggregated transaction data, advertisers can make media more intelligent, right? Where you can use real-world market and audience intelligence to guide media planning as well as targeting. You can make media more personal by delivering hyper-personalized experiences based on actual spending patterns and preferences of the individual. You can make media more measurable, where you can link campaigns to tangible outcomes like incremental sales lift, and no longer just engagement metrics or vanity metrics like impressions or views. So for example, instead of targeting urban millennials interested in travel, we can identify micro geographies where there are high frequency spenders in travel categories, where they are actually transacting and actively transacting, and you can then tailor those messages accordingly. So this level of precision helps advertisers move beyond assumptions and generalizations, moving into data-backed decisions that can drive performance. So if we move to the next slide, I want to spend a bit of time here because this is an important slide to anchor on. Earlier on, Carey mentioned DPAM, which is discover, plan, activate, and measure. This is a similar, very classic media planning cycle. And we'll look at how this translates into real-world media and advertising workflows with data. So in a world where consumers are increasingly engaging across multiple channels, online, in-store, mobile, social, we all need a way to connect the dots across the full customer journey. And this is where transaction data becomes a powerful enabler, because it provides you with a direct lens into what people are actually buying, not just what they're browsing or clicking on. So if you look at number one here, right, Mastercard's data can help advertisers and brands like you leverage real-world market and consumer insights to aid more effective media planning. So for example, we have transaction data across a few hundred industry categories, across a time series. So as a brand, if you want to understand when does retail spend in kids apparel pick up leading into mega sale day, such as 9/9 or Christmas in Singapore, this data will help you to understand that and help you plan when you should start your media plan or your media cycle. But we can also look at benchmarking of year-on-year growth in the kids apparel industry so that you can better understand how is your business performing against your competition. We can also help you understand online versus offline spending. So that helps you understand media budget allocation to offline and online media channels. And more importantly, we can even go down to a brand level to help you understand market share, like pre and post a media campaign. Are you actually gaining or decreasing in market share against your competitors? As you can imagine, all of this data becomes very powerful in a world of agentic AI, as Carey mentioned, because as you query an agent, all of these insights will really power that model. Second, number two here is we can help to enhance audience targeting by reaching high value and high intent customers, right? Where you can identify where are all of the top spenders or frequent spenders on hotel bookings or travel in Singapore, and you can then serve them very targeted and personalized creative messaging. Yeah. And the last piece on number 5 is where we can then look at how do we measure closed loop attribution. So Mastercard owns a technology called Test and Learn for media measurement, where we have the ability to understand what was the incremental sales lift that was driven off an omni media channel campaign, and also understand those business drivers. And so all of this becomes very valuable data that we can inject into AI models across the entire media planning flywheel to help automate and democratize research, audience planning, as well as attribution to make media a lot more actionable and dependable. So hopefully this gives you a very quick sense of where our data comes in. And then on the next slide, I just want to walk through a very simple use case of how we have partnered with a leading airline in this region to apply AI in a very practical and high impact way. So the problem statement that was brought to us at Mastercard was, how can we help this airline partner optimize promotional mechanics and customer engagement strategies using data and AI? So working together with them, we co-created task-specific AI agents, is what Carey had mentioned. These are like your interns, your internal agents that can leverage Mastercard's data insights, platform capabilities, and now deep analytic expertise. And so these AI agents help to power and scale in two areas: knowledge management, as well as insights generation for the airline's in-house teams. And it helped them answer key questions like, what are the key insights from previous initiatives to help me guide customer engagement strategy? What discount levels did I offer previously that were able to drive the highest revenue uplift for my business? Or which SKU or which flight route or brands overperformed during the past campaigns, right? And lastly, what promotion periods yielded the best results? In addition, we also supported the area of customer segmentation and personalized messaging to identify high-value segments based on historical behavior. And the agents, in this case, the AI agents, then help to tailor email messages, in-app messages by dynamically using customer-level metrics like redemption rates or booking patterns. So the result is a more intelligent and responsive marketing engine, one that is grounded in real transaction data and is capable of adapting to customer behavior in real time. And this really goes beyond just traditional AI, but how AI is in action today with Gen AI as well as predictive AI. So I'll go on to the next slide. And this is just another tangible example of how Mastercard is helping our clients bring AI use cases to life. First, we provide our data and insights in multi-formats that are optimized for RAG. In this case, is retrieval augmented generation to support large language models as well as AI agents. Second, we share instruction templates and best practices, including prompt libraries, sample Q&A, and tested use cases. And third, we have our in-house digital labs team that helps provide consulting to design and prototype and build these custom AI solutions. So the goal is to help our clients like you move beyond experimentation to operationalization, embedding AI into your workflow in a way that's measurable, secure, and future ready. I know we are up for time, so I probably won't go through the next use case, and I'll just end off with the last slide. The next slide, please, which is just a couple of key takeaways that I'll leave behind for us, which is that Chai-Fong, can we move on to the next slide, please? Yeah, so these are just the 5 key takeaways. In summary, generative AI is really redefining consumer engagement today. We believe that transaction data is a key strategic asset, and it is a competitive differentiator to brands and marketers. With the use of AI today, personalization is now truly scalable, and AI-powered media is also a lot more accountable to you as well as your decision makers and leaders within the company. So hopefully this gives you a comprehensive or even a concise overview of where data plays as a key enabler across the entire world of AI. And with that, I'll take a pause and pass the time back to Tim and Chai-Fong.
All right, thank you so much, Justin. I think that's a great sharing. So I think for the interest of time, let's just move to the next section, which is the Q&A. I think some of the questions has been answered by Lynn and Carey in the in the chat section. But I think I'll just pick up one of the common questions being asked, like what are the tools that what are the Gen AI tools that are being used, and also what's the differentiator if everyone is use the same kind of tools, right? So I think. Actually, Justin summarized it in his takeaways. I think one of the points that he made is actually, of course, data will be one of the key differentiator. I think if you see from all the 3 panelists that was sharing, so what is the common is they started to use the tool. They started to actually building their own workflows. You can tell from, Carey's DPAM, and also Justin also share their own Mastercard's, the frameworks, right? I think that's definitely something that common, but I think what's different is how you are integrating the data and your own data, right? And then also basically fit into your own workflow, because that will make a big differences. And many of those tools are model or large language model agnostic, meaning whether you're using ChatGPT or use a different tool, actually, it may differences. But when you are connecting that with your own data, with your own workflow, I think that's how you basically differentiate from other players, right? So I think probably we don't have time for the other questions. Definitely we're going to note all the questions down, and then we will get back. All the answers will be published in our website as well. I think with that, I would like to thank three of our distinguished guest panelists who giving the great sharing, and I think we learned a lot. And also want to thank everyone, all the participants, all the audiences joining us today in the morning. Thank you so much, and hopefully we're looking forward to see you in the next session. Thank you, everyone.